Alrighty, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be making two different things. We are going to be making some gluten-free, dairy-free blondies, and then I'm going to experiment with making my own homemade coconut whipped cream, which I'm very excited about. If you've been watching any of my other Vlogmas videos, you know that I do love my good old Cocoa Whip, which is also a coconut whipped cream, but it does have the preservatives and extra ingredients in there. And so I am someone who is constantly trying to reinvent or kind of tweak recipes or tweak snacks and see how I can make something more nutrient dense and fewer ingredients and healthier and more blood sugar balanced and all that kind of stuff. So we're gonna start out with making the blondies, and then I'm going to make the coconut whipped cream. Hopefully that goes well. And then tonight we're doing a little movie night. Okay, so for blondies, you need 1.5 cups of a gluten-free flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, half a cup of butter, and I am using the Country Crock plant butter for this one. You need 1 cup of granulated sugar, so like a white sugar, so I'm just using an organic cane sugar. And then you need half a cup of some brown sugar. You'll need 2 eggs, and then you need a teaspoon of vanilla extract. All right, the oven is almost preheated, but we're just gonna put these in the oven for 25 to 30 minutes and hope for the best. They smell great. They basically smell like sugar. So hopefully they taste good, but we're just gonna put these in for 25 to 30 minutes and then I will let y'all know how they turn out. Okay, I started making dinner while I waited for these, but they're out of the oven and we're gonna let these sit and cool before you cut them. It definitely took me longer than 30 minutes. The recommendation for time was 25 to 30, and I checked them at 25 and the top was still pretty pale looking, and they should be more of that golden brown color. At least that's what the picture looked like. And I did the toothpick test and they weren't done. So honestly, I feel like I kept them in closer to 40 minutes or more, but everyone's oven is different. So just keep checking them if you decide to make these. So we'll see how they taste, but we're supposed to let them cool before we try to cut them into squares. Okay, I'm a wee bit confused about these blondies. So I was cutting them and at first I was like, oh no, they look super dry because the top is super crunchy almost. But then if you see this layer, it's as if it wasn't even all the way cooked. Or, I mean, I ate some and it looks and tastes cooked, just like a normal dense kind of gooey brownie. But I'm just confused. It was there was maybe even an air gap in between the top, because the top was super crunchy, and then the bottom, you see? It's the bottom half wasn't as cooked. And I went back and looked at the cover photo for the recipe, and hers look a lot thinner. And I used an 8x8 pan like it said, and I just feel they came out way taller in height, a lot thicker. So I wonder if using a 9x13 pan would have been better to spread out the batter a little bit more. And these I followed to a T. The only thing I did different is something that it said I could do in the notes. So the recipe called for 2 tablespoons of the Bob's Red Mill egg replacer. But then in the notes it said if you're eating eggs, just do 2 eggs instead of 2 tablespoons of egg replacer. So I used eggs because the recipe said I could. They still taste good. They weren't what I was expecting. But I'm going to go ahead and make the whipped cream. All right, for the whipped cream, you'll need 2 cans of full-fat coconut milk, 6 tablespoons of powdered sugar, and then a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And the instructions did say to chill the full-fat cans of coconut milk overnight in the fridge to make sure that the fat separates from the milk because we're gonna use like the coconut fat for the whipped cream. And then also to chill your mixing bowl and like the little like beaters, chill those in the fridge for 10 minutes before we start making them. So I've got my bowl and the beaters in the fridge right now. So I'm gonna wait for those to get done, and then we will make some homemade whipped cream, and hopefully this recipe turns out. All right, so I've got my chilled bowl and the beaters ready, and then I read that it just makes it easier if you flip the cans of coconut milk upside down, because the coconut milk separates and the liquid will be at the bottom of the can. So if you open it upside down, it just makes it easier to pour it. All right, so I got one can of coconut milk that was really thick, like the normal full fat. And then I got one can that had like kind of a more liquid fat on top. I'm not sure what that's about. Now it does say that when you whip this cream together, only to do it for like 30 to 45 seconds. And it specifically says, do not over whip this. So we will try not to do that. All right, got it whip-like. We're gonna add in 6 tablespoons of powdered sugar and then 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Ta-da! I feel like it looks pretty good. Not bad. Oh, I think this turned out good. So I'll link this recipe below. I doubled the recipe. So on like the website, you can either do, you know, its original recipe, or you can click the little like 2x button to double the recipe. So that's what I did. So the normal recipe is like 1 can of coconut milk and like a little bit, you know, all of it's halved. So I'll come back later when I make hot chocolate, because now the real reason that I wanted to try and make a homemade coconut whipped cream was because coconut is full of great healthy fats. And for purposes of blood sugar balancing and having proper blood sugar regulation, you want to help balance carbs and the sugar with protein and fat. So that's why I started adding in my chocolate protein powder to my hot chocolate. And then I wanted to get like a quality fat in there as well and do like a dairy-free option, obviously. So I was like, you know what, let me make my own homemade coconut whipped cream, because coconut fat has like, it's a really good healthy fat for you. So I was like, well, let me try and add that in, and then I'll get a nice well-balanced hot chocolate that has protein and fat in it too, so that you're not getting like a super sharp blood sugar spike like right before you go to bed, you know? So when I come back, I'll show you how I make my hot chocolate with my protein powder, and then I'm gonna top it with this. I'm so excited. Okay, I was getting my thumbnail pictures in the meantime, but now it's time for hot chocolate. It's almost 8 o'clock, so we're gonna start our movie soon. So I shared this I know I've shared this in one of my Vlogmas videos, but I've started adding my chocolate protein, like I mentioned, for better blood sugar regulation. So when people talk about like proper like blood sugar balance or how to eat like a balanced meal, it's kind of with that blood sugar in mind. So pairing carbohydrates and or sugar with something that has a fat and a protein helps prevent like the sharp blood sugar spike. So that's what I mean when I say like something that's better for your blood sugar and like blood sugar balancing. And I'm actually planning on doing a whole series, actually an acne series, and blood sugar balancing is a key part in acne, because blood sugar that's all over the place can start the cascade of hormonal problems. And then a lot of people say like hormonal acne, but at the root of even hormonal acne, at the root of that is typically blood sugar irregulation and blood sugar problems. So I'm gonna be doing a whole series on that in the new year. I've got, I think 4 or 5 videos lined up to just kind of educate on that a little bit more, but we're gonna make some hot chocolate. So what I've been doing is a cup of water, heat it up, and then 1 scoop of the chocolate Equip protein. I do have a discount code for this, so Be Restored Nutrition gets you 15% off of your protein, or anything on their store, I guess. I get their protein. And then I do an extra tablespoon to tablespoon and a half of cocoa powder, because I love a really like rich hot chocolate flavor. And then I'll do 1 to 2 teaspoons of sugar, either maple syrup or organic cane sugar, but I'm out of my maple syrup, so we're going with sugar. And then I'm gonna get to try out my coconut whipped cream. Ryan and I were like licking the beaters and the spatula. I really like it. I feel like this turned out so good. And the Blondies are growing on us. Ryan and I both think they taste good. They definitely taste good. I think it just threw me off the way they came out, but the flavor is good. They're very delicious. Real YouTube life is making your hot chocolate, race against the clock to get a picture of it for a thumbnail before all the whipped cream melts, and then spoon out all the excess whipped cream that you didn't really need, but it had to be big enough so that you could see it on a picture. The struggle is real. Man, that's good. Man, why is that so good? Man, oh my gosh, Ryan.
What?
That has some good hot chocolate.
Did you not gonna make me that?
And good whipped cream. That is good. Oh my gosh. I feel like I've been a little bit in a rut of like figuring out the sweet spot for my hot chocolate, but that tastes really good. So when I first made my homemade hot chocolate with like the protein, I did cup of water, so like 1 cup of water, 1 scoop of protein, 1 tablespoon of cocoa powder, and then 1 teaspoon of sugar. And I just did like 1 across the board, and that turned out really well too. That's where I started with. That was like my starting point. So if you want to try it, I would start there. But then even today, I did 1 scoop of protein powder, half a tablespoon of cocoa powder, and 1 teaspoon of sugar, and dialed it back a little bit, and then put this in it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Anyways, we are going to start a movie. We still need to pick out a movie, but that is it for today's video. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. I will link both these recipes below if you want to try the Blondies. The flavor did come out really well, and I feel like the bottom half that looked not cooked, it is cooked. It's just like dense, but it's very good, and it's still kind of moist. I'll link those in case you want to try them. The whipped cream recipe, 10 out of 10. Didn't change a thing, so good. But thank you so much for watching. As always, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video.